This is won next month's competition. I won the freaking new book, new book about something spirituality or something. I won. Jumping out of my skin. Merlin's beard. I basically willed it and manifested it into existence. And just said every month I'm gonna win this competition. I'm gonna win this, and I won this competition. With the answer of the rabbit and all the significance behind the rabbit and the dreadlock girl, and I just can't believe it. I'm so freaking excited. I'm bouncing off the walls. It's the best. This is a really good feeling. I'm gonna try to ride with this feeling as long as I can. It's freaking like wow, and to hear my freaking name, and now it's gonna take longer and all that. I'm super pumped. I was so stoked about winning a competition that I made some personal videos for myself, and then this one for you guys. I've been entering this competition.
What competition?
Where I answer a trivia question, and then if I freaking answer correctly, I win a prize. And I won the prize.
What's the prize?
It's a book.
A book? Well, what's the book?
I don't know, but it's by somebody that has like a extremely intriguing name.
Okay, what's the name?
Her name's Nymphya.
Nymphya.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, you heard that from the Lion's Den, Vault of Doom Productions, GemInEye, Zero, Zombie, Podcasts, Grinders. You better go check out that book by Nymphya.
Yeah,
dude, I'm guessing it's spelled Nymphia.
Yeah. But I literally know nothing at all about the prize. I just got this half of the package with the music sign on it, and not the book. The book is not contained in here. And now I'm gonna show you.
Where's the book?
Yeah,
we want the book.
I'm gonna show you that we're looking.
Look at this hat. Isn't this hat fabulous?
At the confirmation of receiving the book and the album through email.
The book and the album. You got it?
As above, so below are one of the phrases that I recall mentioned in this book. Here with me, MICKEYGEMINEYE. I'm reviewing this book and the album. But let me talk about the album first, because it's music, and this is where I'd like to start off with the album. Okay, the music and the album, it just had me instantly inspired to reach out to previous artists that I worked with. And though I didn't get any response from them, it just had that vibrato and those operatic vocals that really I favor, and kind of it just strikes a chord with me. And it took me on a journey. The themes that are used are also reiterated with some of her emails. If you go to her domain listed in the description, sign up for her newsletter. She posts regularly, sends emails regularly via newsletter, so you'll be able to keep in touch with her. She's very nice and friendly, and there will be probably loads of questions for you. But let's get into the book. So here, what I want to start off by saying for the book. Now, I think it's meant for the intermediate beginner, right? But I think if you are in that category, if you are on that intermediate level or in the beginner level, You might even could use whatever knowledge you get from this book to go off on your own rant, really, and just do like a whole podcast episode yourself. If you're a podcaster just starting out, or if you are a podcaster, if you're not a podcaster, you're just inspired to want to talk about this stuff, you could read this book and gather enough information to get your own rant going. I think that it's the most that's the most important detail to add in there, is that it's for the intermediate beginner. And what I'm going to do right now, what you're seeing around me is this grove. I do not know what kind of tree that it is. It's kind of still a mystery for me. It's kind of embarrassing that I don't just Google it, but I don't just Google every bit of nature information that I can get. Just quick self-promo, very quick self-promo, sort of, and spontaneous and on accident a little bit. What I had just got done saying about not Googling all the information that I can about nature, aside from plant identification and mushroom identification, my new album for my current black metal project, Dire Muid, got a theme of plants and fungi. I'm not going to give away too much, as a good magician never reveals the secrets, but I'm just telling you, my new album coming up is about plants and fungi. So now let me take you out of the grove here. Where I'm going to walk to is just for, I don't know, maybe aesthetic purposes or improving the quality of what I'm saying or something along those lines. You're going to walk with me here to the actual special space that I created to read this book. I'm still on the book now. I think I want to just go back straight to the album at the end. For now, I'm still just on the book. I cracked this open, instantly saw the alchemical themes, and was entirely interested. It's right up my alley. Especially in terms of an old picture, an actual old picture that depicts. It'd be nice if I had the details handy too, but hey, I guess that's part of my artistic edge. I'm encouraging you mostly to read the book than I am at having all the facts and everything readily handy. If that makes sense, let me know. Drop down in the comments right now. Let me know. We're gonna move on now to the acronym that I found to be I'm not gonna dwell on this too much here, but I found that to be part of the magic here. This is a magical book. I'm taking you to a magical space now, and this is a magical book. I'm taking you to a magical space without revealing too much about the nature of this magic and the acronym. I think that it's a simple, practical. Well, it's really a practical, just foreshadowing for you. In this book, there is guided meditation, so you're going to have to do some breathing, some taking a whiff of maybe you have some essential oils or of your flowers that you have nearby. This is highly recommended. I used incense myself personally while reading this book, and it took me. I didn't read the whole book in this place that I'm still taking you. Don't forget, we're still on the path. I get it, no pun intended, but get it, don't forget. And in my space that I was reading this book at, using the incense for that purpose, it assisted me in actually doing what I mentioned in the domain website's review. So you could do that while you're at it. After the video, go to the domain and check out what was written in there. If maybe you're planning on buying this book somewhere, I would recommend doing it online, but you can't always find some of these things in secondhand stores. Sometimes when you find these things in secondhand stores, that's where the magical ambiance is created, where it feels as though it chose you. But that is neither here nor there. Cracking open this book, finding the alchemical symbols there, and then progressing on through this book and trying to get a certain, a certain amount of chapters in every day. Really, ultimately, it was one chapter a day. And really, ultimately, it wasn't even one chapter per day. It was actually one chapter per week. And sometimes, like everybody, I'm human, so I missed out on a few weeks sometimes. I think the most I went was like 3 weeks. For those who care to know, I've still completed the book. I've read it all the way through. I've read it in its entirety. And that is even still with a pretty long break there of 3 weeks. Pretty long time. But got it done. I've got to say, the similarities really is one thing that takes me aback, throws me off, and perturbs me just a little bit too much. That's a personal thing. This is also me doing a review of my experience reading the book, so there's going to be some personal stuff. The whole thing is not entirely educational. If you want that, you have to go get the book and read the book yourself. There's also a digital copy available on the domain. I found that to be one of the first ways that I found this book, but it's not as helpful as getting the actual book at all. The physical book in your hands and in your lap and turning the pages, that's a preferred means for a lot of people. Same way the vinyls are preferred over compact discs, even. Lest we even begin to start remotely talking about streaming. I won't pollute this video with that. Not right now, not at this moment. So here we are approaching it. This is where I would like to invite you to maybe enter this space yourself, maybe while watching, or create something that is similar, to have the mental clarity, so to speak, and maybe have the know-how on practicing a craft, practicing, developing, and creating a practice. I'm a winner in addition for a trivia question. Thus, I came upon this prize. And with this prize, this is what I did with it. I'm happy to have you guys here and sticking along with me this long. I know it's a very busy world out there, and not a lot of people have all this time. What I would not be upset about is a comment or two on how you think that I did, because other than that, all the notes that I wrote down and all the other things all the other things that are in the actual details that I could provide for you, it goes into part of my own personal practice, things that I'm not ready to share. What I will tap off with saying is that the epic nature of the book itself, and how many years that it was described that it took to create. Excuse me, there's some background noise. And how many years that it took to create, and how many different factors that were involved in putting this together. It really does make for like a masterful work, where there's knowledge of the occult, there's esoteric knowledge. That's really what I would define it as. It hits the spot for that esoteric knowledge that I personally and most people might crave, but it doesn't have anything too far strayed away from a practice, developing a practice, stuff like that. I think, like, a lot of people would find the most use out of this from the beginner. From the beginner, a novice, an intermediate novice, an intermediate beginner would get the most out of it. It's really totally for, honestly, I would say for kids or the younger crowd or the younger generation of I always mess up millennial and centennial, so I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe millennials, teenagers, stuff like that. They would probably get the most out of this. I would say something like, now, like, I know what you're thinking. Am I diverting my duty to maybe teach others about this? And it's like, well, no, that's kind of like why I'm just a difficult person, I guess. When it comes down to it, I'm just a difficult little pistol. And as you can tell, I'm still standing here in this space. So maybe as a demonstration for what I'm talking about, I'm going to step off now, and that is enough for me for now. So with that, I would like to progress into what other things are contained in the book. Lots of useful stuff that I actually didn't get the opportunity to kind of develop myself, and that I utilize something off of this book. But on the whole, this is what struck me as the strangest thing about it. And I found this on Druidcast and didn't find anything about druidry in the book. I found it to be so odd, quite odd indeed. And therefore, it's not only part of that magic aspect, but I don't want to even inquire. I care less why it doesn't mention druidry. It was on a druid podcast, and there's, likely to be more books to read from Nymphya, so I'll have that be those, I guess, parting words on the book, and then moving on to just a couple final notes on the album. I'm a big fan of the artwork. I love that it's literally her as a fairy. I mean, she's literally a fairy. She's a pixie. It's very stimulating to the imagination. It's very fitting to my lifestyle, let alone the actual substance of this album. And in this album, with the themes that I have relatability to, I mean, I'm speaking to the author on the synchronicities here between just in her life, and also that we're just generally speaking, making ourselves aware of the synchronicities and how it's kind of a good omen, maybe like possibly a good omen. It's a good sign, like a fox that crosses your path. That's a good omen. And literally, I kid you not, I literally saw a fox right on this path that you're walking with me on right now, off my path, in the middle of the night of all times of day. And so, those synchronicities being good signs, aside from the synchronicities, the things that I like, I mean, she's mentioning in the book, she's doing a whole chapter on the book, as it's very well constructed, very well put together, that each chapter is titled each song on the album. And then when and how she goes into detail is, I mean, that's it. That's when and how she goes into detail on those. Okay, that's the skill level on the book. So I mean, I'm gonna have to. This looks like I'm gonna have to actually start kind of wrapping up and walking down here, but I'm gonna have to put this review into two parts. It's actually a long-awaited review. I've actually been waiting a long time to do this review. Here on this channel is where the as it's a book and it's not a movie or an album, it's going over here on this little separate channel that I have. It still has to be put into 2 parts. So it's a 2-parter. So I encourage you, as I'm kind of walking down here and winding down, that you get your feedback ready for me. Get your feedback, what you want me to hear you say about this if you've read it. I want to hear what you have to say if you have not read this and are interested in it and have any questions for me as someone who's read it. And listen to it. Listen to the album. The biggest thing about the album that I liked was her asking the fans and listeners to vote on what was their favorite. There's, as per usual, for things that I really like, there's a lot of alternating things between, maybe it's this song, maybe it's this song. It's literally me doing this review while it's fresh in my mind. And that is the best that I could do, as while it's fresh in my mind without referencing back. I don't want to take away from any of the quality. It's sort of an ethos that I have personally as a creator. And there's the thing about this capping off of the whole thing, that literally the synchronicities aside, and the epic nature of this creation aside, I'm a very liminal person. I'm a very liminal man. So reading about liminal, already knowing what liminal is, that chapter, if I was ever in a daze or in kind of like a walking sleep state of sorts, if you will, as is the popular lingo that's going around now, call it zombie, call it what you will, and please excuse my language if this is not family friendly, and please let me know if I'm doing okay on hopefully making this at least partially family friendly, especially since it's on a channel that is for the most part family friendly, except for what I have honestly age restricted in the settings to prevent that kind of thing from happening. Anywho, and at any rate, I'm a very liminal man. I'm literally living in a liminal space. That's just me. I'm very liminal in nature. So I'm reading about this, I'm learning so much more about this, and it's not only pulling me out of it, and that chapter anchored me the most throughout the whole experience. I can carry that with me a little bit to figure out some more practical ways to use that. As I'm also, as much into my practice as I am, I'm also requiring some practicality, and that is what I'm going to be using the most through that part of my practice. So, without further ado, I want to tell you my rating and why I gave it a 4 out of 5. I gave it a 4 out of 5 because, for one, the artwork is amazing, but I was certainly not expecting it to be at least put side by side by some of that old occult stuff, some of that very old occult manuscripts, and with a lot of that esoteric knowledge that it would be categorized as. I was kind of expecting something as far as the artwork goes, because I saw this opinion is coming based on what I saw in the digital version of the album, or the digital version of the book, where the digital version of the book has the actual auditory guided meditations, and then there's the artwork on those for the pictures for each track on there, and it doesn't change with the book. I kind of thought it might have changed with the book. So all in all, and in actuality, and you know, with all the aesthetics, I want to comment on the details, the very deep details and descriptive details of the aesthetics of the whole thing so much, but there are just so many things that literally cannot be said. So what I'm getting at is that the artwork is not changing from the audio to the book. The artwork is the same, and I kind of would have liked it to be a little bit different, but final note on that is just, I totally understand. I totally get it. I understand it's just not realistic for a production of this quality, as this is likely to have sold quite a few mini copies. As for comparison, I'm just comparing to myself. I can only speak for myself. As for somebody like me, you know, I'll just go and do all the crazy, what is that called? Disturbed, troubled artist type thing, and I'll just put on stuff that's wacky, doesn't quite match or anything like that. By the way, look at the pine trees out there. I'm loving these kinds of reviews. I'll try to do these more often, guys, but that is where I'm wrapping up by just saying my highlights that I wrote down in the website domain review is something I want to recap on, like the relatability and all the stuff that I'm relating to. Number one, so much relating to it a lot. It is. I can't quite recall what else I wrote in that domain website review. Go check that out, guys. I'm really grateful of you guys for watching. I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to win this prize. And with that, I would like to actually, as this is a two-parter, I'm going to make each one the same amount of time. I'd like to actually fill the remainder of the video. 4 out of 5 stars, just in case I need to quickly say that. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. I'm filling the rest of this review with some of my reactions that I was so excited about. I made a few of them. I made about 5 different reactions to this. I'm so excited. I'm going to try to squeeze these in, and if it becomes a 3-parter, that would be why. It's just because simply I want to get that in there. So I'm again reminding you to go and check out this book. Like, share, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, support my channel with the link tree. Goodbye for now, and blessed be. Let it roar. Grind it out, sponsor it out, pound it out.